I've got my hairpin back out of the way and I'm ready to tackle this one brand video today. Hello and welcome to today's video. Thanks for joining me. Today we're doing a one brand video on NYX Cosmetics. I have so many products from this brand, some that have been favorites of mine for a long time, and I'll share with you those products along the way. I also picked up their new releases. Yes, they have some new products, like new, so we're gonna talk about those. I've got my little basket that I use to organize all of my products by brand, ready to go, full of all of my NYX stuff, and I wanted to do a full face and kind of knock this out today, share with you my thoughts along the way, what's good, and kind of give you some ideas of where to start if you're looking into purchasing products from NYX. They have so many things to look at on their website. If you go to Ulta stores, their whole brand takes a huge space and it can be overwhelming. It's like, where do you start? So I hope that this video will help you, give you some ideas, point you in the right direction of what's actually worth spending the money, what's great, what is something that maybe you could skip, products that are actually not that great. So I've got some good products to share with you, so let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk primer. That's the first step of my complexion routine. I have a few minis that I have actually never tried before, so they have a lot of options to choose from. They have the Marshmellow Primer. They also have the Plump Right Back Up, or Plump Right Back. This is an electrolyte primer, which sounds very interesting. I like that sort of neon green tube so it catches your eye. So I thought it would be fun to maybe mix the two. So here on my makeup palette, I took out, on my palette, as you can see, there's two products. The top one that is clear, it's actually very thick. That's the electrolyte primer. It looks to be a little bit thick, kind of jelly, could possibly be something similar to like the e.l.f. primer grip where it's a little bit sticky. And then right beneath that is the Marshmellow Primer. It's very thick, and so I think that's gonna be better for maybe smoothing over some texture and pores. So I'm gonna use both of these today. I'm gonna start with the Marshmellow Primer and use that in the center of my face. And when I was putting my brush in there, it actually, when I was moving the product, it looks a little bit whipped. So it's gonna be one that I think will work really nicely in this area where I have larger pores. I'm gonna use my NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation brush, which is angled. I use this a lot, and this is a very well-made brush. It's really soft. It's great for blending in foundation or primers. I don't like to use my hands that much. I just don't like the feeling of makeup all over my hands and getting products kind of all gooped up. So I try to use brushes and tools to apply products as much as I can. Next up is foundation. I have the Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. I've owned this in my collection for a little less than a year. I purchased the shade Porcelain and I didn't match myself very good with this, so I'm going to have to sort of work with this today. So if it's a little bit light, we're just going to kind of move past that little minor detail and use this. They also have a blur kind of matte, soft matte product. It's the Bear With Me Blur. It's the Blurring Tint Foundation. This was something I tried when it first came out several months ago. This was sometime last year, and I did not like this. This actually looked really dry and just did not look very nice on the skin. So I had the idea to kind of mix both of them together. It's definitely gonna make this even lighter because this shade was completely wrong. Here's the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation in Porcelain. Right next to it is the Blur, the Bear With Me Blur foundation tint, and that is in the shade Fair. And by no means am I going to use that amount on my palette. That is way too much, and especially that Blur tint, I do not like that product, so I am not going to use that much. I took maybe like a very small pearl size or maybe half a pearl sized amount into one pump of the Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation. Now that everything is blended in, I'm gonna start off with the positives. I think that adding it to the foundation made it a little bit more, I guess, tolerable for me. But the end result, I am not happy with it. I do feel like that Blur product definitely is more kind of sunken into my pores, and my pores look a little bit more accentuated, so I don't like it. It's the same issue that I had when I used that product on its own. Now let's talk about something that I do love. The NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer is one of my absolute favorites from the drugstore. I have two shades. I started off with Alabaster and then I went to Vanilla, which is just a little bit deeper, a little bit more yellow. The Alabaster is a perfect shade for having a more bright effect under the eyes. Vanilla is just a little bit deeper, so I mixed the two and I love this formula. Another good product that is a concealer is the Bear With Me Serum Concealer. I have shade Light, and I like the fact that it has skincare benefits in it. It's got the tremolo mushrooms for added hydration, but I've actually used this as foundation when I'm on vacation trips because the product packaging is very small and my makeup for travel is very minimal. And I can use this for my concealer and also foundation. And now that I think of it, I should have just done that for this video, but it's okay. This is a lot more full coverage than the Serum Concealer, but they're both really nice on the under eye and they both work very well for concealing on the face as well. If you prefer a concealer in a stick form, they have the new Pro Fix sticks. I ordered these for this video because I wanted to try them out. I have a brightening one and then I have a more skin tone. I ordered shade Vanilla because I was thinking in the back of my mind that it would be similar in tone to the vanilla in the liquid concealer. So we'll see if it matches. This does look a little bit darker, but I'm gonna start with the brightener first. And the Pro Fix stick is in the shade Pink, and that's the corrector shade. They do have a couple shades, but I will say the range in options in colors and undertones is pretty great. They do have quite a few to choose from and several in the correctors as well. So let's give them kudos for that. I'm going to start with the Pro Fix stick, and wow, is that creamy. Okay, I was dragging my feet when this first launched because I typically feel like any type of concealer or corrector in a stick form is going to be a lot thicker than your typical components that is used for like liquids and thinner formulas, but this is extremely creamy. So I am happy about that. So I'm going to use a little bit here. I may even be using too much, but I wanted to demo as many products as possible. So this is the corrector in Pink blended out with the damp sponge. I do think that it did something to brighten the eye area. I definitely would like to pair this with a concealer over the top. I don't think I want to use the Pro Fix stick in the vanilla shade under the eyes. I think it's a little bit of a thicker formula. Personally for me, I think I'm going to use this mostly on the face. And the doe foot applicator is a little bit more tapered and has an angle, like a bend to it, which is nice. Different, doesn't matter, not really. The formula is spectacular. I love it so much. And I'm going to use my same beauty blender to blend that right over the corrector. But I wanted to try the Pro Fix stick in the vanilla shade. Yes, vanilla. And I wanted to see how this was going to work, like around the nose, maybe kind of around the mouth, conceal. I have like a small little visitor on my forehead, lovely. And just see what the tone of this is and see what the coverage is like on a skin tone color of the Pro Fix sticks. And again, this is very creamy. So I'm gonna go around the nose and see if I can help with blending the foundation. I'm gonna go back into the beauty sponge. It's still kind of damp to blend this in and see if that can help around the sides of the nose where the foundation doesn't look the best. And then let's try to kind of cover up this little guy right here that's not wanted today. And I'm just gonna use my sponge and just kind of tap gently. And this is the HD finishing powder. I have this little mini that I ordered from the Ulta website. I had no idea that they actually had this in a miniature size. So I bought the minis when I ordered the Pro Fix sticks, and I'm gonna use this to set my concealer, and I'm also going to use that to set pretty much the entire face. I had this thought of trying the HD powder with a powder puff, so picking up a little bit more. This could very well be a mistake because the base is looking a little dry, but we're playing around and we're doing some research here today, so we're gonna try it. This Sonia Kashuk puff sponge is actually really great. You get 2 of them for $5 at Target, and I'm gonna use this to do a little bit of baking and just lightly press it over this area. All right, so it's going to look a little bit crazy. It does look like it's settling a little bit here, but I'm gonna leave it dust away after we do brows, which brings me to the next product, which actually is a brand new launch. The Powder Louder Brow Pencil is the newest addition to the NYX brow product range. I've got a couple other products to talk about, but this is gonna be what I'm gonna use today. This is supposed to be a pencil that has a bit of a powder finish. I ordered the shade Ash Brown. Let's talk about the micro pencil. They do have a very fine pointed pencil. This one that's new is going to be a little bit wider and more of a traditional brow pencil. This is going to be more precise, more detailing. This is actually a pretty good pencil and it goes on beautifully and stays on very well throughout the day. No issues there. And I also ordered the Tame and Frame. This is a tinted brow pomade. I have not used a tinted gel pomade dip brow type of product in a very, very long time. There was a time where I would use these and get a very bold brow. So I thought I'd try it and see if I can do something similar, but kind of scale it back a little bit softer, more natural. But I bought this before I knew this was going to come out, and I am very curious about this. So we're going to try the Powder Louder today. It does come with a spoolie, which is always handy and very much appreciated when brands give you a spoolie. Classic wooden sharpenable pencil. And as I mentioned, I'm using the shade Ash Brown. And right off the bat, immediately, I can tell you this is very soft. And it kind of reminds me of a brow pencil that Benefit launched, I think it was last year or the year before. It's kind of like a very soft, powdery pencil. It's almost like a powder in a pencil, which is the same concept with these. But this is obviously much more affordable. And I think that the Ash Brown shade is very doable for my brows, which is odd because I always go for brunettes, dark browns, medium browns. I never really go for ash browns because I feel like that it goes onto the lighter scale of colors, going towards like blonde and taupe shades. So it's kind of interesting to see how this is actually a shade I can pull off. If you like the brow pen style of doing your brows, I love, love, love the NYX Lift and Snatch. I have talked about this so much on this channel. I even have a backup in a box in this drawer ready to go when this runs out. I use the shade Brunette, so I'm going to use this to fill in just a couple little spots that really kind of sometimes will bug me if I don't do this step. So I'm going to just quickly go in through here and blend this in. And I like how the spoolie also spreads the product, so if you get a little too much or you apply too much pressure, you use the spoolie and you can soften it and move it around. So I do really like this pencil. Now it's time to set the brows. I've really enjoyed the brow glue. This actually looks tinted because I've had it for so long. It's actually a clear. This is a little bit thicker, a little bit more goopy, but if you wanted something that has a tint to it that you can select a shade that matches your brows or the color of your brow products, the NYX Thick It Stick It is actually really good as well. It has little fibers in it to sort of volumize the brows, and I actually like using this just natural, nothing else with it, just to give a little bit of a tint and to give my brows a little bit more of a better groomed look. But I'm going to go in with the brow glue because that Thick It Stick It is going to add that brunette shade, which is a little bit warmer. And I don't need any more color in my brows. They're dark enough, okay? So I'm going to use a little bit of this, and let's see if this lifts off the Powder Louder pencil that is more of a powder consistency. So far, so good. Looking down at my pile of products in this little basket, I also noticed that I had the Can't Stop Won't Stop powder. This is in the shade Fair. This is a mattifying primer, and I like the sort of tone of this. It's a little bit more golden and yellow, and I like to use this lightly to set my face, but because my complexion is looking a little dry, I will not be using this today, but I did want to point this out really quickly that they do have a pressed powder that you could use as foundation to set foundation. And let's talk about blush and bronzer, okay? The Buttermelt line. These are absolutely worth the money. These are right around 10 bucks. The blushes are very recent to their line. The Buttermelt came out, I would say, probably like a month or two before the blushes, and I love them. I love the compact. I like the look of it. The outside matches the color on the inside, and it's definitely an upgrade, and I love the fact that it's not that expensive. It's 10 bucks, and they have so many colors in the blushes, beautiful shades, bright colors, wearable type shades, some that are more satiny, some that have more glow to it. The bronzers have a bit of a glow, like a soft kind of satiny finish to it. Lots of different shades, a great range of cools and neutrals and some warmer tones. I only have one in this line. I do want to purchase more, and I'm going to use my All Buttered Up, which is a light medium warm. And it looks like this. Such a beautiful formula. It goes on like butter. It's like velvet on the skin. So I'm excited to try this over these two foundation products that I don't really like, because I know this is a fantastic product and it's definitely going to lift my spirits. I'm going to go in with my Real Techniques brush. This is the Mini Multitask, and I'm going to start bronzing it up, and it smells like summer. Love the scent of this. All right, so I think I did a decent job at blending this out. It looks a little intense. I think it's all gonna come together, so trust the process. Stick with me, please, don't leave. I do wanna add some blush. I'm going to use probably the Butter Together because it's the lightest one and I already have a lot going on my face. And I'm gonna start towards the top back part of my cheek area, and then I'm gonna lightly blend this onto the apples of my cheek. Then I'm going to take my beauty sponge that I use for my foundation and I'm going to go right over this whole area here to soften this and blend just a little bit more with whatever's left. I'm not putting any more of that foundation on my face. My lids are primed. I did that off camera with a primer that works. I plugged that in from a different brand. NYX has one, but it's made for glitter pigments and shadows, which I did not purchase that for this video. I don't know if it's any good. If you've tried it, let me know. I'd love to hear from you and your experience with that. But we're going to move on and create an eye look for the day. They have small palettes like this. These have 6 shades in them. And I don't know if this one's still available. I bought this sometime last year. This is the Ultimate Queen. And they also have a smaller, more compact sized palette. This is the Ultimate Vintage Jean. They have a couple different ones. Some that have a little bit more of a brighter kind of pop of color, which is totally not what I use every day. So I chose one for this video with shades that I could actually use and pull off. Even some of these blues, even though I don't use colorful shadows often, these are sort of tones that I feel comfortable using and I think I can make it work. I just think it's so cute, the embossing of the stitching that looks like denim, the little pockets with the hearts in it. It's really cute, it's fun, and it's a nice little kind of addition to the way it looks. But here is the palette. So if you read the back of this palette, on the front it actually says eye pigments and face pigments. On the back it kind of maps out the little squares of each of the colors, and then it has a little blue star with some writing, and it says to apply face pigments to your temples and cheeks to level up your look, do not use on the eyes. So on the back, if you look further down on the ingredient list for the face pigments, it says important, cannot be used on or around eyes. So I guess that would be a choice that you would make, whether or not you want to follow that guideline or do your own thing. I'm kind of bummed about that, honestly, because those are really darn pretty. I think that it's something that you should know about if you're going to buy this. I don't think that I read that online. I do think that they should have been very open about that on the product listing on their website. Maybe it's there. Maybe I can go back and check, and I'll put an annotation here on the screen if it's listed on the Ulta website and also on theirs. But if it's not, it's something that I think that they should, as a brand, put that warning out there, because if I would have read that, I wouldn't have bought this, because that just kind of eliminates some of those fun shades for me, right? Anyways, we'll try to work with some of these other shades instead and see what we come up with. I like to start by setting my primer so that I don't have any issues with blending, so that I go into this with just a prep and set lid, and it looks like a white pressed eyeshadow with a big fluffy brush. I'm just going to take a little bit of that and go right over my primer. Let's hop on over to the shade right next to it, which is one that is considered eye safe. This is shade number 3, and it looks to be a very cool tone, kind of slightly muted tan shade. And I'm going to use a big fluffy crease brush, the same one that I used to prep my base. This is an old brush from Milani, and it was part of a travel set that I've had for, I would say, like 4 years at this point, or maybe more. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that to just start mapping out my crease. I'm going to go into this shade right here. This is a bit of a mauve-y, kind of cool pink shade. It's really a wearable shade of pink, so don't let the pink scare you. I'm going to use that same brush, and I'm going to start by adding that right into the crease, following my natural shape. So I just realized that I applied one of the shades that says it's not for the eye area. That is shade number 4. So in this palette, if you look closely, you will see that each shade that's not designed for the eyes has a kind of square, like little blue marks around it. And I just used one that says not for the eyes. So I clearly broke the rules. So I will let you know in the description box if anything happens. I doubt it. Maybe it's just a warning just to kind of cover themselves, just in case someone does react to it. I've used shades like that before, similar tones. I don't think it's going to be a problem. What I will do is use some of the brown shades to start warming up the under eye. So I'm going to hop down to that second row, and I'm going to use these 2 shades, 6 and 7. So one is a little lighter and then one is a little darker. So I'm just going to bounce right between the two. And I'm just gonna start buffing that. Whoa, that is, hello pigment. That's a lot deeper and more rich than I expected. Okay, wow. I didn't realize that was gonna be as pigmented. I think it's that really dark brown. I'm gonna switch to a different brush to help me with blending since I have that shadow that's not for the eyes on my crease brush. I'm just gonna use the first one that I grabbed. This is a Morphe A20 and I'm gonna use this to blend and soften this out just a little bit. So I'm swatching some of these shades with my finger and these feel like butter. I will show you. I swatched this one here, which is a smoky kind of grayish purple shade. Look at that. That is so intense. This one here, it's like butter. It's so nice. It's so intense. It's very, very pigmented. It's like liquid metal almost. And see, this is very cool tone. It's like a silver with a kind of lilac undertone to it, which is nice. And then this blue one. And then here is a look at the face pigments. So basically these here that are not meant for the eye area. But honestly, who the heck is gonna put these on their face? Like, if they were like kind of mauve-y, pinky tones or blush type of shades, I can see that. But I'm not gonna put this on my face. Like, what's going on, NYX? Like, come on, why did you do this to us? I think I'm gonna go into this shade right here. It's the last one in the second row. And that's the one that has that kind of smoky gray with a bit of a purple undertone. I'm just gonna use this all over the lid and see how that turns out. It looks really pretty, very metallic, soft, buttery. So this is going onto the lids. So here is where I'm at with this eyeshadow. I like the color. This shadow, actually, when you blend it with your finger, it stains and it makes a mess. So it's difficult to work with. It does have a little bit of a kind of bluish sparkle and a very fine shimmer / glitter. It's not overly glittery and it's not big pieces, so I do like that. But it is incredibly difficult to blend. I try to take a little bit on a crease brush. This is actually an e.l.f. crease brush to blend into that sort of mauve shade, and I had to do that off camera and build this shade up. It's just not, it's a mess over here. I'm not really digging this. And then I had to bring in a little bit more of this shade. I broke the rules again and use that to kind of help me with blend because this is just not working out very well. It's kind of patchy and it just looks muddy and it just doesn't look good. Like I just can't recommend this palette. I don't know. Maybe is it me? Is it me? Try to clean this up a little bit more. This is not looking very good. I do not like this palette and I hate to say this, but I would not recommend it. It's way too difficult. Okay, I'm not sure if you heard the phone ring on camera. That was my husband calling. Actually, today is my 17th wedding anniversary, and so I'm trying to get myself ready, and I thought this would be a good idea, but it's not. It's not turning out. It's okay. I'm just gonna go into this dark brown here and add a little bit more to kind of balance the under eye and the top eye, so it looks a little bit more cohesive, but I'm just not thrilled with this, and I honestly wouldn't even recommend that you go out and purchase this palette. But for review purposes, I'm going to continue using it, and I'm going to take that darker shade and focus that more on the outer part. Let's move on to eyeliner to finish up this eye. NYX does have quite a few options. I bought some shades. I've had some of these for a while and I just haven't had time to play with them. The mechanical pencils, I have a shade called Smoky Topaz, so if you like a twist up, they do offer that. They also have the Epic Wear eyeliner stick, and I have one shade, the deepest brown, and it's a typical pencil eyeliner. It's creamy and it looks like it's going to be a nice formula, so I have a few of these in different colors. But my ultimate favorite eyeliner product from NYX is the Epic Ink liquid liners. I have the shade brown, which I use all the time, but I also have this one here, which is the shade black. This is actually one that I bought during the holidays last year as a backup to my liquid liners because I love this. This is the liquid liner that I feel like I could use and not make a mistake. And I absolutely love how easy this ink flows with the tip from inner corner to outer corner, and I get a precise line every single time. And they also did release with their newer products that just launched literally within the last couple of days is new shades for these Epic Ink liners. So I think the brown may be being discontinued and being replaced with one that's a little bit deeper. Let's use something that I can count on is gonna work for me as always, and I'm gonna use the brown liquid liner, and I'm gonna do a thin line at the base of my lashes. Final step is mascara. This is the On the Rise Volume Lift Mascara from NYX. I have never used a NYX mascara before, so I am honestly curious about this. I picked one that seemed to have the most ratings. I didn't read the reviews so that I could come into this video with an open mind and kind of formulate my own opinions. That has a little bit of flexibility, not a lot. But what I do like is when you pull this wand out of the tube, it comes out pretty clean. It's not gooped up with product. You don't really have to swipe much off, which is great. And it does have an hourglass shape, as you can see with the up close shots. It kind of pinches in the center, and it gets a little bit wider on the top and at the base of the wand. So I'm gonna use this mascara today to complete the look. I'm gonna do 2 coats, and I'm also gonna use this on my lower lashes. And as you can probably tell, this wand is quite large, and I do feel like when I get really close to the root and the base of my lashes, I do feel it kind of poking my waterline, which isn't the most pleasant sensation, but it's one to note because the actual little bristles are like a stiffer plastic, and that's the reason why it feels that way. And that is 1 coat with the mascara and then nothing. Here's a look at the lashes. This is 2 coats of the mascara, and here is just 1 coat. Do you see a difference? I think I do see a visible difference. I do think that the second coat gave me a little bit more volume, a little bit more length, and it also helps separate the lashes that look like they're starting to clump up with that first coat. So I'm going to kind of work with this mascara again and build up this other eye here and add a second coat. I do think that it's making my bottom lashes look clumpy, and I did have to remove some smudges because this applicator is just a little too big, especially for the lower lashes, but it's fine for the uppers, and I feel like it kind of pulled the look together and it kind of made this look a little bit more tolerable. But if I'm being really honest with you, I do not like the eyeshadow look, and I do not like the performance of that eyeshadow palette, so that is a definite pass for me. Moving on to lip products from NYX. They have a ton of different options to choose from. Like every single category of lip products that you can think of, they've got something. So lip liners. I absolutely love lip liners. These specifically are the classic sharpenable ones. They're made out of wood, and these will run you about $5 or so. And I actually have so many. I enjoyed using these again and revisiting this formula months ago. I have the nude pink, the Peekaboo Neutral is beautiful, and I use it all the time. So I went back and I bought a bunch more because these are fantastic for the price point. They cannot be beat. They've got lip glosses. These are the butter glosses. These have been out for a very long time, over a decade, I think, at this point. These are fantastic. They're creamy, they're glossy, they have some pigment, tons of shades to choose from. So if you're looking for something easy, something inexpensive, that's a gloss with pigment, check these out. The lip lingeries, I have one of these. This was actually, I think, a free gift with purchase on the Ulta website. This shade is a little bit too dark for me, but it's a liquid matte lipstick formula, so they do have that option too if you like matte lips. They have the whipped lip souffle type of products, again, a kind of whipped satiny matte kind of product. They have the fat oil slick clicks that are also new. The fat oils are really, really good products. A good, nice lip oil that actually feels kind of like a hybrid between a lip oil and a lip gloss. So I have a few of these. And let's talk some new launches for the actual fat oil lip collection. They have some new creamy shades. So I picked up 3 out of the range to try on and show you what these look like today. I have 3 shades. I picked up the shades Chillin' Like a Villain, Splash of Cream, and Sprinkle Sprinkle. I will say, looking at these in person, they all look very, very similar. There's not a whole lot of difference between the shades and the undertones. And when you apply them, I think the only one that looks different is the Sprinkle Sprinkle. It looks a little bit deeper, like a pinky mauve. The other 2 lighter shades honestly look very, very close and similar when applied. Let's start with the look of the Chillin' Like a Villain, which is the lightest shade, and this is the one that looks the most pink online. And I will show you an up-close shot at the applicator, the product, the color, and what it looks like applied. I also decided to pick up the shade Splash of Cream, which is a little bit more of a kind of warmer nude shade, and I actually like this, and I paired this with a lip liner, and I'm going to show you how this looks on the lips, and I'm also going to show you how it looks paired with one of the Cream Glide lip liners from e.l.f., which will run you about $2. So I do think that this color is really pretty, and I like that sort of warm tone to it. But again, like I said, I feel like this shade and Chillin' Like a Villain are very, very similar. And then the other one is the shade called Sprinkle Sprinkle. This one has a little bit more of a pinky mauve with a little bit more depth. And I would say this one has the most pigment out of the three that I own. They do have a few deeper shades, but I don't wear a lot of deep tones, so I didn't purchase those. And I'm going to use the nude pink in the lip liner formula. These are those wooden pencils that I talked about. I love these. Get some because they are incredible. Let's put the Chillin' Like a Villain on top, which is the one that's described to have a little bit of a pink base to it. And I do think that it does have a pink undertone. But it does have a little bit of a kind of tan twist to it. So it's like a brownish, kind of beigey pink. And this is the lip combo for today. I do really like these lip products. I do like the lip oil formula. I do like their lip liners. I would 10 out of 10 recommend those. And this is the final result, a full face of NYX products. Out of all the one brand videos that I've done so far, I think this is the one that I like the least. And it's just a shame because I had high hopes. Even though there are some great products in this line that I really like, there are also some products that when you kind of mix it with the good products, it kind of makes it turn out not so great. And that's kind of the unfortunate part of this specific one brand video. I have some duds throughout this video that I didn't really care for. And I'm just really sad because I've got so much in here, so much more that I could use, and maybe I'll plug in some of these products in a different drugstore video, mixing different brands so I can actually use these products and give you my thoughts. So let me know if you'd be interested in seeing that. I hope that you find these videos helpful. If you do, hit that notification bell and that thumbs up so you can get notified when we do this again. And subscribe for more videos like this in the future. We can be friends on Instagram. My username always pops up here on the screen. I'd love to connect with you there. Take care, you guys, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.